Alright, hello everyone. Today we will be talking about the balance patch for 1.5. This patch does have some elements of 2.0 added as well, so we are going to really try to address all of this in a brief overview here. The in-depth mechanic stuff we will have to go through in a future video, sadly, because stuff is changing quite drastically thanks to this patch here. Some of the things that changes is affinity. Affinity means that some horses become significantly better as parents and grandparents. Some horses will get their unique change, notably Gold City, so that will be a nice little buff for her. And as far as we can tell, pink skills are not expected to be added with this patch, and there are also no major 2.0 Uma changes for McQueen, Fuji or Spechan yet, as I have confirmed yet, right? But there are some changes that we can guarantee, so we will definitely talk about those. So let us start with the first one. The easiest one is the Frenzied debuff change. For the Frenzied debuff change, we basically have a debuff that used to affect your allies, but now it will not affect your allies. Meaning that if you happen to see this on your debuffer, you can just pick it up as an extra debuff if you want to, right? But if you don't see it, you also won't be crying about it, since Frenzy is not exactly a 100% chance to go and trigger, since it requires them to be rushed, if I remember correctly, right? So yeah, it's not really that big of a change and won't really affect you so much, but when you're debuff hunting, you can pick them up if you want. Next, you also have Gold City. Gold City's buff is very likely to be the change from the acceleration to the speed skill. Her unique acceleration was 0.3 XL, which seems awesome, except that it always activated way too early. Since it activated way too early, it would basically never work properly, and it made her a very, very inconsistent horse. But it's very likely that this change will change it to the speed unit in the mid lane, which is very solid. This change makes it so that she actually has some mid-leg skills, and then she can hit the gambling skills as per usual, like Ryan, Pump Iron, or your Beyond, or your On Your Left. Later on, it's going to get buff also. I cannot confirm whether it's getting buff now, but if it does get buff now, then holy shit. Gold City, great upscale, basically. Right, after that, we also have the excess portion of the 1200 stat and possible power conservation mechanics. This change is basically moving us into the post-1200 stat era of Umamusume, where in JP originally, when you get above 1200 speed, it was 1/4 the value, which is kind of mediocre. It's like if you have 1300 speed and then you got like 1300 speed and you were in JP back then, you only got 25 speed from that. But now it's only half. So that means that if you get 1300 speed, it will give you 50 speed. So it's still very important to max your speed as much as possible here, because speed is speed. Speed is the defining stat that makes you win or lose, right? So you definitely want to max out your speed as much as possible. So this change should shift us to the half value, and that means that getting close to 1600 speed. Yes, your Grand Life stat cap increase is 1600, so you want to try to hit that as much as possible. In addition, we have also theorized that power conservation, which is a 2.0 mechanic, might be added with this patch. Just in case it does get added, we will explain it a little bit. It's not that complicated. It is simply a breakpoint check at 1200 power. Once you get 1201 power, you get something like an NSM perfect proc, where you get last spurt acceleration perfectly procced. And greens can help you hit this 1201 power, and good and great moods can also wiggle you into that 1201 power. If this mechanic is added, your Grand Life deck might look a little bit different. So I will have to address the changes if this changes. But if it doesn't change, then just assume that everything is as per usual, just speed plus a bit gaming, alright? But when this changes, you might need to slot in one power card just in case, right? Do note that the speed one is guaranteed. So the speed, if there is the speed increase, then the higher stamina is required to maintain the increased speed. So general stamina numbers for every single position in Grand Life will 100% go up, alright? Do note that murmurs can actually kill people in Grand Life just because the stamina is so difficult to hunt for. It's really very difficult to hunt for stamina. Ment always give you a lot of natural stamina, but in Grand Life, oh, you don't get a lot of stamina. So you might have to run a stamina card, stamina inheritance, or you need to buy a lot of recoveries or something like that, just in case people want to murmur you again. Yes, murmurs is back on the menu. Again, who is the exception to this is Expert Oguri. So again, is Expert Oguri upscale? V Bourbon has some resistance to it as well, thanks to her innate recovery as well, right? So yeah, some horses don't really get affected by the stamina nerf change here, but Expert Oguri, I don't care about stamina anyway, right? So that's why she's a kind of a demon in Grand Life. Next, we also have the buffed Throne Passion Zone. Since Throne is recently released and a lot of people don't know the mechanics for it, let me just quickly explain it. If you click Throne or you do her final date, you have a chance or guaranteed proc, final date is guaranteed, to enter the Passion Zone. And the logic for exiting Passion Zone is a random chance. So you have maybe a chance to go like 1 or 2, then you hit the unlucky roll, shit, I'm exiting Passion Zone. No more rainbow, right? Now what happens is that that this buff Throne Passion Zone simply allows you to last longer. So that means that you can basically go for like maybe 4 turns of Rainbow, 5 turns of Rainbow. Wow, right? So that really helps to improve the consistency of an already very good card, and also allows for much bigger highs where you can hit a crazy amount of Rainbows with Throne in a row, and that could be very, very high roll for your run, right? On top of this, Throne already gave you the crazy stats, so it's like, yeah, it's ridiculous. So Throne is highly, highly recommended for the sprint CM. Is really just that good, right? It's really, really damn good. So try your best to shove it in there. If you can't, then so be it, right? Next, we have the Pace Up EX and Pace Down. This is a mechanic change to your pacing mechanics. It forces horses to go into their positions faster. For Uniges, this is one of the most significant buffs for them. Now you gain bonus speed if the gap between them and the next closest horse is too low. And the gap needs to be like 15 meters or something. It's humongous, right? So you have a very big radius where your horse will always choose to go faster, and is a very significant buff for the Unige. So you are very strong now. But do remember, if you meet each other, you will both explode, especially due to stamina consumption being increased due to the new speed max cap increase. So if you do Suzuka and you're going for Mao, do note that your stamina requirement needs to be very high to compensate for that increased 1500 speed. So they're not the easiest position to make, requires a lot of effort, but they are significantly better now compared to last time. Because, you know, like I wanted to have 2 horses fight each other, but Unige cannot. 3.5 times stamina consumption explosion, right? At least now they can kind of simulate it a little bit just by having them run faster because there's one person a little bit too close to them behind them. Next, we have the solo fronts. Solo fronts also get a little bit of benefit here. So you're not super homeless. You know how front runners want to fight each other to make the gap very big? That's still going to be a thing. But now, if you're solo front and the pace chaser is a little bit too close to you, you will choose to go faster. That's what happens. So you get a little bit benefit, but that is usually not enough to make you win. So it's not really going to be that significant for the solo fronts, but I will just mention it here. Next, you also have pace down. For pacing down, you simply lose less speed. So it's less punishing when you do get the pace down. It's still preferable to never get it by triggering a bunch of speed skills in a row in an infinite chain, so that you basically never ever pace down and just go crazy with it. But of course, that's not always the case. So if you just hit the pace down now, it's just not going to punish you as much anymore. So you don't have to worry about that part. Next, we have 2 very significant changes that I cannot really fully address here. The affinity change and the skill change. For affinity change, this video will be quite long if I added the whole in-depth explanation here. So just a quick summary here. In short, your G2 and G3, no more affinity. So don't need to do G2 and G3 anymore. Base affinity, high. Good. All horse base affinity higher. G1 affinity, very, very high. G1 is king. Everyone must spam G1. Do many, many G1 and make a new track. Grand Life, no. Bad parenting still. Man still king of G1 spam. So definitely go do G1 spam in man. Horse love to get Dirt Spark because can do more G1. Alright, done. Summarized. Refer to the Crazy Fellow document or future videos if you need more information. I will explain more about how you want to optimize your parenting in the future. If you want to be that optimal. You don't have to be that optimal, but it's just an option for you. Right? Next, we have the skill changes. This one is more difficult to explain. Is because we don't know which one's coming. That's really why it's a bit difficult to explain. There are some skills that are very significant in terms of their changes. Bofa gets a consistency buff, which makes it one of the go-to recoveries. Your full throttle gets a lowered stamina consumption, making it very strong. Your on your left and your head-on get a very nice consistency boost to make them very, very strong for the shorter CMs, like the upcoming sprint CM. So I cannot really guarantee which of the skills are changing, and I cannot confirm whether it's all of those changes, because all those changes that I mentioned are all from 2.0. So I don't really know if those are the ones being changed here, because if they do change here, I have to make a follow-up video, right? So I'm just gonna not gonna talk about it so much, right? We will make a separate video addressing this video if I have to, right? I'll double confirm whether the skill changes are the correct ones, then I'll go and talk about it here, right? So yeah, that's just what we'll do here for the skill changes, and the affinity changes, you just got the quick summary there. Crazy Fellow document have the rest of the information that you might need. So that's pretty much it for this 1.5 balance patch. Ultimately, Xmas Aguri, V Bourbon, horses with speed bonuses will see a potential humongous boost to their power level, especially if that power conserve mechanic is added, just because 1201 power and hitting 1600 speed at the same time is very, very hard for horses without speed and power bonus. It's very, very hard for them. So if your horse don't have any of those two, you might be homeless. But we will double check first. I don't want to doom and gloom you guys yet, right? I double check that one, then I come back and address it. But yeah, otherwise, ultimately, these buffs here make your parenting a lot more powerful. You can go for crazy, crazy good parenting and basically this shifts you guys more towards the JP style of Umamusume as we prepare to go into Grand Life. Right, so that's it guys, thanks for watching. If you need any more information, please feel free to join the Discord where a lot of people also understand these changes and are willing to explain it to you, or you can go and join me on my Twitch or YouTube live stream and ask. I'll try my best to answer. I cannot answer everyone obviously. If you desperately need the answer, you can go through the Ko-fi and I'll definitely answer you there because I charge you money. Right, so that's it guys, thanks for watching and I shall see you guys next time. Bye bye.